Hi everyone, my name is Jasdeep and I'm covering about the poster on the role of HR COVID-19 impact on aviation sector. So basically how is the aviation sector has been affected by the COVID impact. So my dissertation was on this. So the poster is the brief about what I have covered in my dissertation. So if I'll be zooming up the slides and let you know what exactly it's all about, so I can considering the things like for an introduction, like what we get to know brief about that every time anything happens, like for example flu, like the same COVID, or any crisis or any global effects, the air industry, the aviation industry always affected and hampered because of these things. So there are some figures which express how the surveys which tells you how the aviation sector has a loss of 503 to 607 million passengers and the loss of $252 billion revenues all over the world. And even though the COVID has brought the global pace down, and even the sectors like aviation has a huge impact because it impacts the people lifestyle, as people love to travel and travel for a business personal reasons, so they have stopped being going there. So that's the major impact on the income of the aviation sector. Coming on the how human resource as a framework as successful sector as in the COVID-19, so how they have helped the passengers, or like the policies with the coming with the policies, and with the employees how they have built the policies for the employees that's to that the employee can sustain the management system, and with the minimum loss of employees they can engage, like they can run a program in which they can deduct little salary, even because the work people are not working, still they're getting full salary in first 3 or 4 months, for example like in India or any other countries like in Britain also. So after 3 or 4 months, if the lockdown exceeded, they start deducting the 20% 30% salaries of them. And even they are giving the foundation approach basically to the customers to free down, and they can book the tickets through the employees on a discounts. And even though their jobs are pretty much secure, so and more of the communication gap done with the employees and the customers if they're facing any issues, like, and more of coming on to impact of COVID on aviation sector. So yes, it's a huge impact as in 2020. Earlier in 2019 it was a great success on a daily. Every year aviation sector has increased their income, but after this COVID, the aviation sector has agreed to the agents and the other flights according to the government's deadline, and the cancellation for the national and international flights tickets. The most part is that aviation sector are not refunding up the tickets, and even they are not postponing the flights because they are not sure because of the lockdown. Everything has impacted. So even though you can see during this pandemic situation, so airline companies has most of the companies are about to shut it off because of the loss they have, the loans they have on their credit, their debts, insurance agreements. Everything has been in fact in the coronavirus. And aviation sector is the only economically but also human resource management they can also connected with them, because for the employees, for the customers, they are engaging. So if you're coming next on the what exactly we get into in their reflection, so what have learned from it, that in the COVID the role of HR is the main role because they are the backbone for the companies, as we know. And the team has managed several issues and topics where they can cover the workplace and work from home options are there, and staff should be relocated for the new areas, and the goals to be converted the workers according to the survey. It has been found that 20% of the executive surveys believe in their company, were prepared to respond to the large advertised risk. And a couple of months later, pandemic COVID-19 crisis came related to the goods is found in focus during COVID pandemic. So the supply chain risk, financial stability, and the major statistics, human resources issued has been there. So it's very tough for every company, and being in HR, it's very important to play the vital role everywhere. So what that observe. So if you talk about the research questions, so basically what we have observed that what is the impact of the COVID-19 situation in the aviation sector, which is this is covered in our the presentation part, in even though in the project. And COVID-19 is a long term, yeah, I think so, it's a long term, because until unless there is no vaccination process, still we can't say it's in a shortened period, because it's almost an year. And how many COVID-19 influence job? Yeah, there's many more people who has been lost their jobs. Thousands of people has lost their jobs in aviation sector because of the COVID. Few of ours are on contract, they has lost their contracts, even though a certain change in the policy of the government, and many things has been happened. If you talk about the role, yeah, HR has played a vital role in research. The research work was very, it's a they, as we know, they are the backbone. So it's as we covered upside over here, that HR framework we covered. So it's everything, it's which they have played the policy, the health awareness, and the everything which they have covered: the supply chain system, productivity, organization, business model, business environment, managing organic culture, development, integrated technologies, everything they have done. So they are the major role over here, which have impacted the COVID sector, and the reflections we have explained. So the search methodology. So this philosophy deal with the source of nature and develop of knowledge, and it's considered to be believed regarding the method, the data, and the phenomena which is collected and is to be used. So the total information gathered and the research work to be gathered and collect techniques classified into two categories of deductive and inductive researches. So the research is designed to state of the technologies to determine the associate variables with the research problems, to find out the answers and what exactly that research belongs to are the major researches. And these research have the strategies and the most utilized in the order to gather the cases studies, articles, relevant journals, everything. In this research study we collect the data, techniques, relatively and authenticate informations to the data sources, so that we can get to know what exactly the things has been impacted and hampered in this COVID in under aviation sector. So those research help these to find out the problems and the root cause, and to how to overcome these issues. If we come our results, yes, the research has produced in the depth analysis of the situation and the COVID pandemic situations, and they have an objectives to be in this sector. The major communication aspects, both inboard as well as outboard areas, such as highly active and prohibited businesses, come across the major blow causes and stop activities because of these short and long routes. Inner boundaries and outers has the most been settled post in this pandemic situations. So it stopped to spread diseases. That's why they have took a major impact of not commuting international flights, and even though not domestics. Therefore, the research has ensured that the data collection of their analytics and conducted the line making, and the researchers should understand the presence of well as the future conditions about the COVID, that in this pandemic COVID situation aviation sector has affected a lot, and they have took the major steps so that the disease wouldn't be spread throughout the world from one country to another by stopping international flights and the domestic flights through inside the country. So these are the references which I have used to make this project. That's all about the impact of COVID and how HR plays a vital role in